Hello, friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. All right, we are on day 8, day 9. I'm not sure exactly what day we're on of the quarantine, but it is Thursday, so I guess that makes it about day 8. Go back to work 1 week from today. If everything goes well, I'm still symptom free, so that's good news. I was actually wondering on a live stream, based on the fact that a lot of companies have been just shutting down and writing this thing out, whether my company itself was one of those companies that was still operating, or if they had shut down and I just hadn't heard because I'm not coming in. So just for fun today, I got in the car and kind of ran over there to just drive by the place. I didn't want to create any problems. I didn't even go into the parking lot. I just drove by them on the street just to make sure that they were still operating. And it appears that they are. There's still, hundreds of cars in the parking lot. And so they seem to be in full operation right now. It also appears that the maintenance shutdown that they were doing is over, because obviously they were kind of operating on a skeleton crew when that was going on. So it's good to know that that's over. It's good to know that the company is still running. Because that sort of means that they'll be, I'll be able to go back to work as soon as my quarantine is over. So that's a good thing. I'm looking forward to that. I'm getting a little stir crazy here, but we're continuing on with the daily live streams, and that's a good thing to do. And I kind of feel good that we're able to do that. So we'll definitely continue. I was also, when I was out, actually the reason I went out to do that is I had to go out and run over to my storage locker and pull out some documents out of the safe. Over the years, my father and my uncle have kind of handed off copies of documents pertaining to, their will and their estate and healthcare directives and all that fun stuff. And I've kept it all in my storage locker. And today, after the first live stream, I got a call from my brother-in-law, and he wanted to know kind of if I had a specific document. And I said, well, everything that I've been given from my parents is in the safe, so I'd have to run over there and look. And he says, I'd appreciate it if you do it, because there's something I need in order to kind of make a point to finally get this long-term health care stuff to kick in for my mom. And so I went over there and spent a few minutes rummaging through the safe, and was unable to find the exact thing that he was looking for. So he said it wasn't really that big a deal. He'd probably just contact my dad's lawyer and they'd have a copy and we'd get it straightened out from them. But he wanted to see if he could kind of take the shortcut way and get it from me first. Man, I'll tell you, this insurance company is doing everything in their power to avoid paying out. It's really sad, because for the last 20 or so years, my father has been faithfully every month paying into this fund for this insurance, for this long-term disability and support thing, that he paid in every month for. And if even one time he was tardy in terms of sending it in, it would have been the end of the policy. The policy would have been canceled. He would have lost everything he put into it. And now that we're to the point where we need them to start doing their end of the, keeping up their end of the bargain, now all of a sudden it's like, well, we need this document before we can do that. And then we send them the document, and it's like, okay, now we need this document. We got to get this document from the apartment, and they won't do it, or they delay doing it, or the person that has to do it is always out at lunch or always in a meeting or something, and we never talk to them. And then we finally get them to do it, and they send it in, and then the insurance company calls back and says, oh, you chopped off this little part when you made the copy. We need you to send it again. And it's just a really pain in the neck. I know what's going on. They don't want to pay out. Okay, sure, I get it. My dad didn't want to pay in for 20 years either, but he did. Now it's your turn to do your end of things. And I know what they're doing is they're saying, if we just wait long enough, maybe they'll die. They've already succeeded in having one person die. If they wait long enough, maybe they can get the other one to die, and then they won't have to pay anything out. I don't know. It's getting crazy. My brother-in-law, like I said, is a investment broker, so he deals with this nonsense all the time. So he's, the person that we basically put front and center in terms of dealing with this. And even he's starting to get a little frustrated with it. I don't know. We may at some point have to get a lawyer involved and actually sue these guys to pay back. But there's also another issue that's kind of coming along with this shutdown that we're a little bit concerned about, and that is the fact that my mom, her health isn't really that good as it is. Yeah, she's got the bum knee from the knee replacement surgery she had, but she's also got issues with asthma. She's got issues with her heart, and a whole bunch of other things that are also becoming an issue. And as a result of that, she's on an enormous amount of medication. And since she isn't able to go to the doctor because she can't even leave her apartment, she isn't getting any opportunities to go in and, have the doctors monitor that and make sure everything's looking good. So we've been trying for a long, long time to try and get my mom to move up to Sacramento, where she'd be real close to my sister. And my mom has always rejected that because she's not really a huge fan of how hot it gets in there. She likes being down in Southern California, where she can open up the window and get a little cool breeze coming in, or even go out sometimes. But the point is, she doesn't really go out that much as it is. And, she spends most of her time in her apartment anyway, even when she's not under quarantine, watching TV or reading books. So, I don't know. I don't see entirely the reason why she couldn't watch TV and read books in Sacramento. That would make it so much easier, because then there'd be, my brother-in-law, my sister, my niece, and my nephew, who are all there, who could help her in an emergency, help her get to her doctor's appointments, and deal with even some of the non-emergency things that she needs, like just going to the grocery store. She can't do any of that right now while she's on lockdown in the apartment. And we just kind of get concerned about that and have to kind of get her to the point where, she does what's best for herself. Because, at this point, maybe this apartment isn't necessarily the best place for somebody with her health issues. And I think we got to try and get her to accept that reality. And, she's stubborn. I'll admit, that's where I get it a little bit too. I can be a little stubborn at times too. And clearly I get it from her. So, we're kind of slowly working on her a little bit, trying to get her to accept the fact that, maybe this apartment in Southern California might not be the best option for her. Maybe we can get her into a place up near my sister where we can, monitor her a little closer, where she can have visits from family, more frequently. Because the truth is, I'm 1,800 miles away in Texas, and my sister's about 500 miles away in Sacramento. If my mom needed help, she'd have to be counting on strangers or at best just friends to help her. And at best, we're a few hours away. If in my case, if I had to come there, it's a 3.5-hour flight, and it's 2 hours to drive there and probably an hour to go from the airport to her place. So I'm at best 7 or 8 hours away under best case scenario. And my sister, it's the same thing. It's probably an hour to drive from where she lives to the airport, another hour and a half to, fly from Sacramento to California, or to Sacramento to Los Angeles, and then another hour for her to get home. So, if something goes wrong and nobody's there immediately to help her, say she fell or something like that, it might be 4 or 5 hours before somebody could get there. So we worry about that a lot, and that's one of the things that we're kind of working on her real hard right now, to kind of get her to accept the fact that, she's going to have to maybe accept some things that she doesn't want because it's in her best interest. And additionally, if we were to move her up to Sacramento, it's likely that the money that it costs to give her room and board all the time would be cut significantly, because let's face it, she moved into a real top-of-the-line apartment. It's a really nice place. They're paying an enormous amount of money. And, like I said, the long-term health place is supposed to be, ponying up the cash for that, but they're just not doing it. So, we can help her for a while. I have a little bit of money from my house. My sister and brother-in-law have some money they can help her with. And she got a little bit of money from selling the house. But, that's not going to last forever. And at the rate she's, paying, monthly rent on that place, the rent is almost $10,000 a month to live in that place. That's insane. I'm paying, $1,100 to live here. Now, granted, they don't cook food for me. They don't, do a lot of the stuff that they're doing at this apartment. But, that's still really excessive. And if we could get less than that for providing the services that she really needs, then that would maybe be a better thing. And if it was close enough that my sister or brother-in-law or niece or nephew could drive her to hospital or doctor appointments, that'd be a really good thing. So that's kind of where we're going with that. We're trying to put the pressure on her to, just kind of make some better decisions for herself. And I think we're making progress. And I think eventually this long-term healthcare stuff is going to have to kick in. They can't delay it forever because, like I said, eventually we're going to get lawyers involved, and then it's just going to be worse. But I don't know. I think anyway, that's all I've got today. I do want to thank my newest Patreon, Rhonda Sir. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the last name. I have no idea how to pronounce that. I could take a guess. But thank you, Rhonda, so much for supporting my channel. And for the rest of you, thank you as always for watching. And I will see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Good night.